If only he cared more about other people. The power to give and take could have been the kindest in the whole world. Good, bad, heroic and villainous, corrupt and divine. Though people like to live their life thinking these concepts are clear and concise, but in reality, these lines are much blurrier than we think. Very important to this person. Everyone is a hero of their own story, right? Or at least they want to be. But what if someone doesn't want to be the hero of their story? They still want to be the protagonist, but instead of the hero or good aligning person, they want to be the villain. I just want to explore a case where a villain isn't a misunderstood, damaged, broken soul who was hurt into the world of a villain, but a petty, spiteful, vile human being who is just evil, but still has some complexity in there. From the beginning, Alpha 1 carried his presence not through thought-provoking reasoning, with the heroes making a surprisingly clever counterattack thanks to the effort of Momo and this Class B student. I don't know, care to double check, but they put a track at one of the villains, and the heroes have a golden chance to get the captured student Bakugo back, right as we think that this mission was a success. In a single moment, he flipped the script, turned the situation on his head. Bakugo was snatched from the jaws of being saved. Half the recruited heroes were taken out in the move. Dread power on as Alpha 1 easily take out a top 10 hero, and it seemed no one can stop him until thankfully All Might arrives. But it doesn't end there. All Might's best shot could barely make Alpha 1 wrench, and what remaining strength he has left is fleeing. But this is the number one hero we're talking about, the pinnacle of heroes. When they're down, they don't just sulk, they muscle what energy they have left, and Shigaraki is not a grandson. What? His disciple, Handy the K-Guy, Alpha 1 took him and harbored him into a being of hatred and pain that he is now. The level of depravity to do this to someone that you already killed is unfathomable, and he saved this fact specifically for this moment just to taunt All Might. Here we see one of Alpha 1's most dangerous tools. Due to his arrogance and pride, Alpha 1 tries to win through two ways: overwhelming pure power, and if that doesn't work, emotional manipulation, which he heavily relies on later when the power starts to fail him. Due to his decades of experience, he's well aware of how emotions can affect someone's performance, both to their benefits and dismay, and you know exactly how to attack it for each person he deems an impossible threat. Whereas obsession to always want to be the controller of things, that extends to the very emotion his enemies feel. Whether it's as a raging storm or a discreet jab from the shadows, he's always digging his claws into as many affairs as possible, even the ones you least expect. You could be squaring up one-on-one against them. Maybe you might have a chance because your quirk is broken or you have a good matchup, and then all of a sudden, hey, remember how your wife left you because she was having an affair? Yeah, that was me. I sent that popo to her when she was feeling neglected to destroy your marriage. No, you wouldn't. She was taken to Brokeback Mountain. What are you gonna do about it? You bastard! Oh hey look, you're open. Slice. From this point on, we'll be diving into the manga only events of the upcoming battle in season 7, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch my other videos. Check out my hero-based comic with offers as cheap as 60 pages of content for $7. You all know the meme about a character who always seems to be planning things out from the beginning, such as, well, you believe that they planned every single action the character went, even if they went to like the bathroom or something. Aizen. What makes Alpha 1 different in this respect is while he does do a lot of scheming, and since he has his fingers in a lot of pots, you know, side plots and characters, while of course taking more credit for the turn of events than he probably did. But hey, in the world of Joseph Joestar, his enemy don't need to know that. Just the knowledge that he might have is enough to drive them insane. It's an enjoyable concept as it doesn't show a level of intellect to be able to take unexpected circumstances and then turn them into his favor. One trait we have to see from insecure people is a desperation to maintain an image. Granted, people in general like to maintain an image, but the flawed beings we are, we never are able to live up to 100%, and a big part of growing up is knowing this and being able to laugh at ourselves, except that we may not be the Alpha Sigma champion imaginations. It's a humbling experience that can help us not be bullheaded onto a path we can't handle, and a refusal of this can often stem from insecurities about one's identity or personality or status. Taking a look at Alpha 1, we discover his birth is one of complete insignificance. No symbol, no status, no place in society. He was born with nothing to his name except a single weakling brother and a quirk that as far as he knew could only help him consume. A situation one could say had no purpose. So he gave himself one. After years of this mindlessly wandering around, exerting his power because he can, about seeing his brother idolize heroes from comic books, he decided to define himself as the villain. and become him. You see, its hero is why I titled the video, The Man Who Chooses Evil. If you take the simplified view of his backstory, it will seem to be a pretty standard forced into a role villain. But on a closer look at his life, his decisions, circumstance, you realize that All For One was a person to this life. He wanted it. That might sound off if you know the history of quirks and such, but a quick review will prove it. The biggest one is his twin brother Yoichi. Despite being weaker, being the one who should live in fear and was pushed around without power, he still turned out with a good heart. Meanwhile, All For One, even as a child, reveled in the bloodshed he can cause, even against people who wanted no harm against him or posed no threat to him. Without reason or cause, he'll still slaughter them, simply because he could. Even when the world was in a state where they were still freaking out over the existence of quirks, All For One wasn't bothered by it. He didn't suffer discrimination or being an outcast. He enjoyed the status, stealing, taking whatever he wanted. Final one by spoilers, by the way. He cared so little about the blight of quirk users that he went out of his way to kill the shining baby that Redesport explained had gained a large following. Why? Because he thought the child was a fraud, because he technically wasn't the absolute first case of quirk repairing, since a few undocumented cases happened a few years before. Remember, this wasn't done out of some righteous about history, but simply feeling that someone didn't deserve the praise they were given for a child bestowed onto them by others when they were a baby. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say he did this out of jealousy, that while he was born into nothing to his name, the shining baby was born to be one of the most pitiable persons in history simply by existing, acting completely out of spite. It's as Yoichi says, the power of All For One would have been the greatest power the earth ever experienced, the countless good it could have done to society, and the countless lives that could have been saved. Maybe in a different universe, if it still had a mom, it would have turned out different. But no, instead, all For One left is a never-ending nightmare. One thing about All For One is that he's like a cockroach. He's so stubborn into thinking he deserves to be the main character of the world. He'll even steal the spotlight from other villains who should be sitting on the throne of top villain. Even through defeat or death, he finds ways to return to the story and manipulate the lives of the characters we love. It's almost haunting knowing this one person held so much malice in his heart. On every level of existence, he found a way to exist there just to torture others. He may not be able to truly become a demon lord in life due to simply being human, but what he did accomplish is being a never-ending nightmare picking at everyone's mind, thinking his finger into whatever form he can appeal, trying to have his will be fulfilled, and if not that, at least ruining the day of his enemies. He caused such everlasting damage to an entire verse. He must truly be a terrifying villain, and I respect the hell out of that. It's fun when villains are truly the embodiment of evil. In the end, there's not much else to say that Yoichi had this himself. The power to give and take could have done so much good. Unfortunately, the bearer of this power was All For One, the man who chooses evil. Thanks for watching the video. I know I laughed for a bit, so hey, I just wanted to sing my praise for All For One as villain. And a lot of way he does keep me on my toes, and I feel like his ever-desperate claw for a presence, where I can make us see him as the worst, they all can make me see him as the best, and I kind of enjoy that villain, as it makes things kind of interesting. My Academia have a lot of attribute to it that's so dynamic and inspiring in ways. I would be a lie if I said that My Academia wasn't an inspiration for my own manga, Relentlessly Build Hero. Where in the story, after a city star hero died, so imagine if like, All Might, Superman, and Batman died for the city, the new generation of heroes go to step up to cover what's lost, and despite the efforts, society still seems to degrade. I also got another series inspired by Jet Set Radio and Aegon named Stormworld Riders. Ride down the street, mark your turf, find your freedom, and have a high rush lifestyle coming this summer 2024 on Kickstarter. Alright then, that's it for me. Glad to have finally done this video. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, follow my sources, and tell me what you thought of All For One as a character, or any other topics you want to talk about. I'll see you next time. Back to the streets for me. Ciao.